everyone, welcome to my blog Pies and Tacos. Today I'm going to show you how to make this apple crisp cupcakes. They're perfect for fall. They are vanilla cupcakes filled with apple pie filling, topped with a cinnamon cream cheese frosting and a crumble topping on top. They are so delicious and I hope you enjoy this recipe. So now we're going to make the apple pie filling to fill the cupcakes. I have here about 3.5 cups of chopped apples, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, about 2 tablespoons of water. We're gonna cook this. If your apples are kind of the soft side, you want to cook them a little bit less. If they are on the hard side, you want to cook them a little bit longer. And I'm going to add 1 stick of cinnamon with the apples to help infuse them a little bit. So now that my apples are nice and soft, I'm going to remove the cinnamon stick because we're going to add the other ingredients. 1/2 cup of brown sugar, freshly grated nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I have here about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, about 2 tablespoons of water to dissolve the cornstarch. We're going to add the cornstarch to the pan. Stir it, bring it back to a boil, and cook it until it becomes thick. We're gonna let it cool down. And while we wait for this to cool down, we're gonna go make our cupcakes. Alright guys, now let's make our cupcakes. So we're gonna start out by sifting our dry ingredients, which are 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. These are our dry ingredients. We're gonna set this aside for a second. So now we're going to start by creaming some butter. Alright, so now that the butter is nice and creamy and fluffy, we're going to add the sugar. Once the sugar and the butter are very creamy together, we can start to add the eggs. We're gonna add 3 eggs, and we're gonna add them one at a time as we're mixing. And then you wait for 1 egg to incorporate before you add the next one. And it's good sometimes to just scrape the bowl a little bit to help everything come together. Alright, so now we're going to add some vanilla in there. So now we're going to add 1/2 cup of milk, and we're going to add it slowly. So now it's time to add the dry ingredients in. So I already have my oven preheating over there, and I'm going to bake the cupcakes now. Alright guys, so now we're gonna make the crumble topping for our cupcakes. We're gonna put some flour in a bowl, and I'm gonna do a mixture of 1/2 white sugar and 1/2 brown sugar. And I'm also going to add a touch of cinnamon And now I diced the butter really small. It's cold butter from the fridge. I'm gonna add this butter right in and start to work it. If you have one of those pastry cutters, you can use that. You can use a fork, or you can use your hands, which is actually my favorite way of doing this. So slowly just incorporate the butter with the flour and the sugars. I'm going to spread this on a baking sheet lined with a parchment paper or a silicone mat, and we're going to bake it in the oven. So here we have our crumble topping, and I want to give you a tip. So as it bakes, while it's baking, you want to stir it a couple times while it's baking so you can have the crumbs forming, and especially when it comes out of the oven, you want to give it a quick stir to break up the crumbs so it's not baking in one huge piece. So we're gonna start by adding 8 ounces of cream cheese, 4 ounces of butter, so once the cream cheese and the butter are nice and fluffy together, we're going to add the powdered sugar. So here I sifted already about 4 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to add it all at once like that. And I'm also going to add half a tablespoon of cinnamon powder. You can add up to a tablespoon of cinnamon powder. It depends on how strong you want the cinnamon taste to be. And I'm also going to add some vanilla. There we go. So here we go, cinnamon cream cheese frosting. Alright, so everything's ready for me to assemble the cupcakes. The cupcakes are beautiful, baked, cooled down. The crumble topping is also cooled down. The apple pie filling, delicious and cooled down. And we have our frosting ready right here in the piping bag. So let's assemble the cupcakes.